I used to think 3 a.m. was just a time, a number on a clock, a coincidence people turned into a superstition because humans hate silence and darkness. I laughed at videos warning people not to stay awake at 3 a.m. I thought they were cheap fear tricks, edited shadows, fake sounds, overreacting narrators whispering into cheap microphones. That was before the night I stayed awake on purpose. It started as insomnia, the normal kind, the kind where your body is tired but your mind keeps replaying random memories you don't care about. I was lying in bed, phone glowing above my face, scrolling without reading. My room was quiet in that way that only exists after midnight, when even the air feels like it's holding its breath. At some point, I checked the time, 2:58 a.m. I remember it clearly because my first thought was stupid. I smirked. Almost witching hour, I whispered to myself, mocking every horror story I'd ever heard. I stayed awake on purpose after that. I wanted to see 3 a.m. arrive just to prove nothing would happen. The clock flipped. 3 a.m. Nothing exploded. No shadows crawled up the walls. No whispers filled the room. I exhaled, feeling victorious, like I'd just disproven something ancient and silly. Then my phone vibrated. 1. Notification. No sound. Just a soft vibration against my palm. The screen lit up with a message preview. Unknown number. You're still awake. I frowned. My first instinct was annoyance, spam, a prank, maybe some app glitch. I opened the message. You're still awake. You shouldn't be. I typed back without thinking. Who is this? The typing bubble appeared instantly. Too instantly. I see you. My smile faded. I locked my phone and tossed it onto the bed like it had burned me. My heart beat a little faster, but I forced myself to stay calm. People send creepy messages all the time. Wrong number. Trolls exist. Then the light in my hallway turned on. Not flickered. Turned on. A clean click, followed by a steady glow seeping under my bedroom door. I hadn't moved. I lived alone. I hadn't left the room in hours. I sat up slowly, listening. No footsteps, no voices, just the hum of the light. I reached for my phone again. Another message waited. Check your door. Every instinct screamed not to. I didn't respond. I just stared at the door, half expecting the handle to turn. Instead, I heard breathing. Soft. Wet. On the other side of the door, not loud enough to be obvious. Loud enough to be intentional. Like someone wanted me to know they were there. My chest tightened. I whispered, hello? Even though I didn't want an answer. The breathing stopped. Another message buzzed. We don't like being acknowledged. The hallway light clicked off. Total darkness returned, thicker than before. My room felt smaller, like the walls had shifted inward while I wasn't looking. I didn't sleep that night. I sat there until sunrise, lights on, heart racing, replaying every sound. When morning came and nothing else happened, I convinced myself it was stress, a prank, a coincidence layered on top of a bad night. I told no one. That was my mistake, because once you are awake at 3 a.m., something notices, and it remembers. The next night, I tried to sleep early. I really did. I avoided my phone, turned off notifications, even played white noise. I fell asleep around 1:30 a.m. I dreamed of a hallway. Not my hallway, a longer one. Narrow, endless. Doors lining both sides, each one slightly open, just enough to see darkness breathing inside them. I was walking barefoot, the floor cold and sticky, every step echoed wrong like the sound was delayed. At the end of the hallway was a clock. No numbers, just hands. They were spinning slowly backward. I woke up gasping. My phone screen was on. 3 a.m. Another message. You came back. My fingers shook as I typed. Stop texting me. The response came slower this time. Deliberate. You stayed awake again. That's consent. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and slid to the floor, screen still, glowing. The air felt heavy, pressing against my ears like I was underwater. My ears rang. Then I heard it. A sound inside the walls, scratching, not fast, not frantic, patient, like fingernails dragging slowly across wood, mapping the inside of my room. I bolted out of bed and turned on every light. The scratching stopped immediately, like it had been waiting for darkness specifically. Ice. stayed awake until morning again, sitting on the floor with my back against the wall, watching the door. Daylight didn't feel safe anymore. It felt temporary. I tried to tell myself I was losing it. Sleep deprivation does things to your brain. Hallucinations, paranoia. I Googled 3 a.m. fear insomnia and found hundreds of forums, jokes, memes. Then I found a post with no comments, just a title. If you're awake at 3 a.m., don't look for answers. The post was years old, the account deleted, but the content was still there. It described the messages, the breathing, the way lights turned on by themselves, the scratching inside walls. My stomach dropped as I scrolled. The last line said, "If it notices you twice, it starts visiting." That night I stayed awake again, not by choice. At 2:59 a.m., my eyes snapped open like something had pulled me out of sleep by the spine. I didn't check the clock. I didn't need to. My phone buzzed. You can't pretend anymore. The ceiling creaked. Slow pressure directly above my bed, like something heavy had knelt there. Dust drifted down, landing on my blanket. I lay completely still, barely breathing. The pressure shifted, spreading, as if whatever it was had lowered itself closer to me. Then came the whisper, not through the air, inside my head. We exist in the pause. I squeezed my eyes shut, tears leaking out despite my effort to stay silent. The whisper continued, layering over itself, dozens of voices speaking the same words at slightly different speeds, between seconds, between breaths, between when you should be asleep and when you choose not to be. Something brushed my arm, cold, curious. I screamed. The pressure vanished. The whisper cut off like a radio switched off mid-sentence. I scrambled for the lamp and turned it on, sobbing. Nothing was there. Morning came again. I called in sick to work. My reflection looked wrong. My eyes were sunken, skin pale, like I'd been underwater too long. That afternoon I noticed scratches on my arm. Thin, parallel, like fingernails. I tried everything after that. Sleeping pills, alcohol, meditation videos. I even slept with the lights on, curtains open, TV blaring. None of it mattered, because it wasn't waiting for darkness. It was waiting for 3 a.m. on the 5th night. I didn't wake up at 3 a.m. I was already awake. My body knew. My heart pounded as the seconds crawled closer. When the clock changed, nothing happened right away. Then my TV turned off. Silence crashed down so hard my ears rang. My phone buzzed. We're coming closer now. The bedroom door handle turned. Slowly. I hadn't locked it. The door opened a few inches. I saw nothing in the gap. No shape, no shadow. Just a deeper darkness than the rest of the room. The darkness leaned in, and I understood something horrible. It wasn't entering my room was entering it. The walls stretched, the ceiling lifted, the familiar shapes warped like melting wax. The doorframe elongated into that hallway from my dream. Doors lined the walls, all slightly open, breathing. I tried to move. I couldn't. My body felt pinned by invisible weight. The whisper returned, louder now, excited. You're fully awake. You see us now.